Hello, YouTube. This is Divided and Conquered, and I am here to talk to you about Stoicism. I'm digging in for the first time to the Tao of Seneca. I'm familiar with other Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, but Seneca is new to me, and I want to share that with you. We're going to be taking a look into the Tao of Seneca, practical letters from a Stoic master, and we're going to see how Seneca interpreted Stoicism. Beginning part is going to be the Foreword written by Tim Ferriss. Quote, "These volumes are dedicated to all who seek to better themselves and in doing so, better the world." Unquote. Tim Ferriss. How to use this book by Tim Ferriss. Few of us consider ourselves philosophers. Philosophy usually conjures images of dense textbooks and academic quibbling with no application to real life. It's fun for professors, perhaps, but a waste of time for the rest of us. I felt this way for decades. Then, in 2004, I found the work of Lucius Annaeus Seneca, better known as Seneca the Younger or simply Seneca. Born circa 4 BC in present-day Spain and raised in Rome, Seneca was simultaneously an esteemed playwright, one of the wealthiest people in Rome, a famous statesman, and an advisor to the emperor. He had to negotiate, persuade, and strategize his way through life. Far from spouting philosophy from the safety of an ivory tower, he had to constantly deal with uncooperative, powerful human beings and faced disaster, exile, and death head on. Seneca took risks and did big things. His primary philosophy, Stoicism, was founded around 300 BC in Athens and can be thought of as an operating system for thriving in high-stress environments. At its core, it teaches you how to separate what you can control from what you cannot, and it trains you to focus exclusively on the former. Seneca's moral letters to Lucilius, a distillation of his lessons learned, changed my life and continues to do so today. You now hold a version of those letters in your hands, complete with original illustrations, original calligraphy from compatible traditions like Zen, links to free audio, and more. I'm giving away the Tao of Seneca in the hopes that it changes your life, and I promise you that it can. Stoicism was designed for doers, and you'll be in fine company as a student. Thomas Jefferson had Seneca on his bedside table. Michel de Montaigne had a quote from Epictetus, a handicapped slave turned famous Stoic teacher, carved in the ceiling of his house so he would see it constantly. Every year, Bill Clinton reads Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, who was at once a Stoic, emperor, and the most powerful man in the world. Other proponents include John Stuart Mill, best-selling author Tom Wolfe, and Navy Vice Admiral and Medal of Honor recipient James Stockdale, who credited his survival as a prisoner of war, 7.5 years, much of it in a windowless 3x9 cement cell, to Stoicism. But far from limited to overcoming the negative, Stoicism can also be used to maximize the positive. For this reason, Stoicism has spread like wildfire throughout Silicon Valley and the NFL in the last 5 years, becoming a mental toughness training system for CEOs, founders, coaches, and players alike. Super Bowl champions like the Patriots and Seahawks have embraced Stoicism to make them better competitors. In my own life, the results have been incredible. Whether early-stage investments, for example, Facebook, Twitter, Uber, Alibaba, and 50-plus others, books translated into 40-plus languages, for example, Tools of Titans, or anything else in the last 20-plus years of my life, I credit nearly all of the biggest successes and biggest disasters averted to my study of Stoicism and specifically the writing of Seneca. But keep in mind, reading alone does very little. The ideas in this book are meant to be applied, and this requires practice. Why do I fast for at least 1 3-day stretch each month? Why do I often schedule suffer camps of various types where I might endure cold or eat exclusively rice and beans for 3 to 10 days? Why might I wear the same type of black t-shirt for a week straight, along with 1 pair of jeans, all the while remaining unshaven and asking myself, is this the condition I feared? All of the above examples are how I use just 1 letter, letter 18, on festivals and fasting. Here's the gist in a few excerpts. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? It is precisely in times of immunity from care that the soul should toughen itself beforehand for occasions of greater stress, and it is while fortune is kind that it should fortify itself against her violence. In days of peace, the soldier performs maneuvers, throws up earthworks with no enemy in sight, and wearies himself by gratuitous toil in order that he may be equal to unavoidable toil. If you would not have a man flinch when the crisis comes, train him before it comes. Let the pallet be a real one, and the coarse cloak. Let the bread be hard and grimy. Endure all this for 3 or 4 days at a time, sometimes for more, so that it may be a test of yourself instead of a mere hobby. Then, I assure you, my dear Lucilius, you will leap for joy when filled with a pennyworth of food, and you will understand that a man's peace of mind does not depend upon fortune, for even when angry, she grants enough for our needs. For though water, barley meal, and crusts of barley bread are not a cheerful diet, yet it is the highest kind of pleasure to be able to derive pleasure from this sort of food, and to have reduced one's needs to that modicum which no unfairness of fortune can snatch away. That's the end of the quote of excerpts from letter 18. These types of practices make you less emotionally reactive, more aware in the present tense, and more resilient. Perhaps counterintuitively, given the English connotations of Stoic, this dramatically increases your ability to feel joy over the small things. As you navigate life, this type of mental toughness training also makes tough decisions easier, whether quitting a job, starting a company, asking someone out, ending a relationship, or anything else. So, where to start? There are many great minds in the Stoic pantheon, including Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Cato. For me, though, Seneca stands out as easy to read, memorable, and surprisingly practical. He covers specifics ranging from handling slander and backstabbing to fasting, exercise, wealth, and death. His letters read like a choose-your-own-adventure book for handling the obstacles life deals you. I suggest you approach this book the way I approached it. Make Seneca part of your daily routine. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes a day and read 1 letter. Whether over coffee in the morning, right before bed, or somewhere in between, digest 1 letter. Do this for 2 weeks and it will change you. Feel free to bounce around and skip liberally. This is your book, meant to be customized. 3 of my favorites might help you get started. Letter 13 on groundless fears, Letter 18 on festivals and fasting, and Letter 20 on practicing what you preach, which is also hilarious. If you have never been exposed to Seneca before, I'm excited for you and envious of you. What a journey you have ahead. As he might say, vale. Seneca used this to close many of letters, and it is often translated as farewell for simplicity. It's perhaps better translated several other ways, and my favorite is 2 words: stay strong. May this book serve you as a friend, teacher, and companion on the path. I hope you enjoy the ride as much as I have. Tim of San Francisco, California. Twitter is @TFerriss. That's @TFERRISS. Instagram and Facebook, he is Tim Ferriss with 2 R's and 2 S's on the last name. TIMFERRISS. Note, I am deeply indebted to dailystoic.com, who generously provided most of the contemporary interviews in this book. Additional modern essays are credited to their respective authors. My sincere thanks to all who were kind enough to contribute to this project. End of the foreword to the Tao of Seneca, Practical Letters from a Stoic Master.